One of the most important roles a site owner plays is managing who has access to a SharePoint site, so it helps to understand the basics of how sites are shared with others. SharePoint sites are set up in site collection hierarchies. Within collections, sites can either inherit the permission settings from the site above it, or they can have unique permissions, which in turn their subsites can choose to inherit. Drilling down within sites, content, such as lists and libraries, can also have their own unique permissions. Even more granular permissions can be set on folders and even individual documents, but as you'll see in another clip, these more complex permissions can cause problems. SharePoint uses groups of people to manage access. Groups, in turn, are granted specific permission rights to SharePoint sites and content. Out of the box, SharePoint team sites with unique permissions come with 3 group types preset for different levels of permissions: visitors, members, and owners. Visitors are set up with read-only access and can generally view documents and list items, but not edit content on the site. Members are preset with the ability to add and edit new documents and list items, and may have broader permissions, allowing them to create list or library apps, edit pages, and configure navigation. Owners have the broadest permissions and can manage all site content, including creating subsites and managing access. Sites with the publishing feature enabled have additional groups that are preset with permissions useful for formal publishing processes. These include designers to customize page layouts, approvers to edit and approve content, hierarchy managers preset to create subsites and content, and restricted readers who can view only approved current content. Site owners share sites with people by adding them to a group. As you'll see in another clip, SharePoint has simplified this process. It's possible to grant people permissions directly instead of adding them to a group, but this isn't recommended as it can create some headaches when keeping track of who has access to what. Customized permissions are best accomplished by creating custom site groups specific to your site's needs. Custom groups often work best when they represent actual groups of people in your organization. Groups are not only used to give access permissions, but can be used to deliver targeted content via the audience capability. So, it's important to plan and coordinate with others when considering groups. Well, that wraps up the basic building blocks of SharePoint access. Gaining a good understanding of how permissions work is one of the most important ways to make SharePoint really work for your team and entire organization.